Some people asking me, hey bro, your videos only gets like 10 views or 1 views or 25 views. So you're not bothered about that. So this kind of question one of my friend asked me yesterday. I just told them that I just told him that I'm actually creating these videos for not others. So these videos I'm creating for myself. Why? Because these videos, okay, I'm explaining DevOps concept, I'm explaining Python concept on YouTube, which means I'm learning, then I'm executing. Okay, so that is the one thing. Another thing that my English is very poor, so I'm using this platform for practicing my English fluency. So that is why I'm speaking English, but my mother tongue is Tamil. I'm really good at my mother tongue, and also uh, I would explain very well, very simple way in my mother tongue, but I'm speaking English and I am not explaining that much well. So why? Because my English is very lagging. So that's the reason. So you see, so there is a big drawback. So there is a big error. So I'm trying to fix that error. So that is why I'm doing these things. Okay. And this is not the explanation. So this is the thing. This will help some people. So yeah. Okay, coming to the topic, this video topic is a KATS volume part 3. So I have already explained about part 1 and part 2. Those who all are not yet watched, please go to watch the video first. Why? Because this is a continuation video of part 2. On part 1, I have explained about the concept of MTDAR, and part 2 video I have explained about the concept of host path. And this video we're going to learn very important concept in Kubernetes. So please watch the video till the end. This video will definitely help you. And also this video duration will be like a 20 or 25 minutes. Why? Because this is a big topic in Kubernetes. So end of this video definitely you will learn a more uh thing about PVC and PV and the storage class. Okay, so let's get started. And firstly I start with this PV, then PVC and storage class. The first 5 minutes of the videos will be a theory part, but because we should know why this PV is needed in Kubernetes also, and also why we needed this PVC in Kubernetes, and also what is the meaning of this storage class. We need to know everything, then only we can easily understand, as well as we can easily do the hands on. Okay, and okay, let's get started. So firstly, I start with this PV. So the PV full form is a persistent volume. So as you all know what persistent means. Okay, the same thing here happening. The persistent is nothing but it's a hard drive. When you are creating a persistent volume on Kubernetes, I'll show you the file, how the file is look like. So this is a persistent volume file is look like. Here you can see the API version and the kind is. So kind is a persistent volume. Why? Because here I am trying to create a persistent volume. Okay, then I provided my metadata, the metadata name. So what does this mean? So this is the persistent volume name, pod name. Okay, and specification here I mentioned 1 GB. Okay, what does this mean? When you are creating this PV, as I said before, PV is a hard drive, which means where our data will be stored. I'll give you another example. Here you are creating the pod. So this pod is a database pod. For example, it's a MySQL database pod. Our data, this pod, this database is nothing but, this database need a storage place. Why? Because it will have some data. Okay, then you are using PV. It's a persistent volume. So what is this persistent volume? It's a hard drive. So wherever database data will be stored. I hope you guys understand this concept. And also you need to understand this persistent volume is not a ephemeral volume. So what does that mean? The same example. Here is a pod and there is a database. Then you are storing your database on persistent volume. If you are using this one, what will happen if your pod gets died? Your data will remain exist. But if you are not using a persistent volume, instead you are using MTDAR, what will happen? Your data as will get deleted. Okay, I hope you guys understand this concept. Now coming to this 1 GB. So what does this 1 GB mean? Now here here you see here I'm creating the database. The database need some data, the space. So the space we are mentioning here. So my database storage will be 1 GB. So what will happen when you create this file? The Kubernetes will provide you uh, the 1 GB of data. Kubernetes will allocate you the 1 GB of data. Okay. Now coming to this access mode, what does this access mode mean? The same example. This is the database where our data will be stored. On pod, we have another pod. So that pod will be a UI pod, and also you have an engine pod like a backend pod, and also you have this database pod. The UI pod need a data. So UI pod data will be fetched from this database. But this database where it is storing on the PV. Okay. So here, what kind of access is this we are mentioning? So if you are mentioning only read once, what will happen? You can only read your data. You can't even update or insert. Okay. Now coming to this persistent volume claim policy, what does this mean? So persistent volume claim. So this is the persistent volume. So I hope you guys understand this persistent volume. Okay, what does this mean? Now coming to this persistent volume claim. So what is the difference between this P and PVC? You don't tell, bro, that is a C, bro. That is a different. You don't tell like that. So this is a climb. So what is this climb? Climb is something that I'm climbing or your money from the bank. So not like that. The meaning would be the same. You are climbing something. So here you say this PV is nothing but you are asking Kubernetes, hey Kubernetes, I need a 1 GB of data. So please provide me a 1 GB of data. So please allocate me a 1 GB of data. And what Kubernetes will do, the Kubernetes will allocate you a 1 GB of data. Okay. Now coming to this PVC, if you are using PVC, what will happen? Here you can mention. So I'll open this PVC file. Here you see this is a PVC file, the same. There is a same kind and metadata and the access mode and the resource. Here you are requesting this 500 MB. What does this mean? Here you are mentioning 500 MB, then you are mounting this PV binding this PV with PVC. What will happen? Your application will be used only for 500 MB. Okay, I'll give you another example. Why? Because some people getting confusing. I can feel. Okay, so this is a database. Okay, you are using PVC, PV. So what is PV? As I said before, it's a hard drive. So where our data will be stored, which it is not ephemeral, so it is a persistent. Okay, so the English meaning, this persistent, the same here. Okay, now coming to this PVC concept. So when you create this PV with 1 GB of data, what Kubernetes will provide you? The Kubernetes will allocate you the 1 GB of data for your PV. Okay. Now coming to this PVC, you are binding some policies, okay, to the PV. So PVC is a policy, you can say. On policy, you are telling to the Kubernetes, hey Kubernetes, I have 1 GB of data for my pod, but I want to use only 500 MB. After, if I need, I will then I will extend. So I hope you guys understand the climb. So climb is nothing but you are climbing. You have a data like 1 GB of storage you have. Then you are climbing. So this will be act as a regulatory, we can say. Now coming to the storage class, the storage class is nothing but a template, we can say. So what does the template mean? So here, for example, this is a local. We're going to do a hands-on on my local machine. Okay. So if you are, so here I can only use host path volume. So which mean, what does this mean? Our all the data will be stored on this path. Okay. But if you are using cloud or if you are using any other type, for example, here I give you a best example like AWS. Many people using AWS EKS service. The full form of EKS service, you know that it's a elastic Kubernetes service. Here you want to create a persistent volume. Okay. So for that, you need to write storage class. I'll open that file as well. How the storage class file is look like. Here you see I'm using, this is the API version. Here I'm mentioning this is a storage class. This is the storage class name will be, and this is the provisioner. So what is the provisioner I using? EBS. So what does EBS mean? EBS is elastic block storage where our data will be stored. Okay, that is a memory card. Okay, here this storage class will be act as a blueprint of our hard drive, how my hard drive would be. Okay, taking already takes more time. Now coming to this um, hands-on part. So here our hands-on, what we going to do is we going to create a PV first, then we will be create a PVC, then we will be create a pod. So I'm not going to create a storage class here because I don't have any. I'm using only my default storage class. Now coming to this PVC, this is missing. Okay, what does this mean? It's a policy. If our PVC gets deleted, if you are using retain, what will happen? Your data will remain accessed. Okay, that is the concept of retain. And if you use a delete, which means if our PVC gets deleted, our data will be delete. And also another one that is called recycle. So that one already deprecated. Okay, so that one we are used previous version of Kubernaties. So what does a recycle mean? Our data will be erased, but our PVC will remain. Okay, and here you see I mentioned a host path. So in my previous video I explained what is this host path mean. I'm just blabbering, I'm sorry. And yeah, what we gonna do? We're going to create a PVC, PV, and we're going to create a pod. Okay, another thing is missing here in PVC. Here you see I not mentioned my storage class. Why? Because if you are not mentioned anything, so here I mentioned only empty. If you mentioned empty, what will happen? You are not referring any storage class, any blueprint. Okay, so here I mentioned here if you are not mentioned anything, especially in Minikube, if you are using Minikube on your local, it will take the default volume. So okay, default volume is a standard volume, standard blueprint we can say. Now, so this is a repository I'm using. So you get this repository link on this video description. So once this uh, hands-on gets finished, so please do hands-on by your own. Why? Because then only you will your brain will remember all the topics, so that will help you while you do the interview. Control Alt T, I'm using Terminator. Okay, controlled W, oh sorry, controlled Alt T and control O. Okay, control CD DevOps English, and there is a folder called DevOps Tamil. So day 4. So on here you can see these 3 files. Before that, we need to ensure the Kubernetes is cluster is running or not. For that, you should use this mini kube status. So everything stopped. So we need to start this one. kubectl get pod. Yeah, now let's try. See, the nginx pod is running. So I'm going to delete this nginx pod kubectl delete pod only kubectl get pv. So pv also there. I'm going to delete this one as well. Also, I going to create PVC, HTML, PVC, mm, get PV, PVC. So nothing is there. I deleted everything. Okay, now kubectl apply -f PV. First, I going to create this PV. Okay, the PV is created. Let's verify this is created not. Kubectl get PV. So PV is successfully created. Now I going to create kubectl PVC as well. Kubectl get PVC. So PVC also created. You see this climbed. So this is called the binding. Some binding process has been successfully done. And another topic I have missed while I explain this concept, we can create PV without PVC. Okay, that is called dynamic provisioning, which means Kubernetes itself will automatically create PVC. Okay, those all are the advanced concept. So I'll explain you that concepts as well in this video. So this is a PV. So as I said before, what does the storage class mean? Storage class is a blueprint of the hard drive, which means blueprint of the persistent volume. Okay, for example, if you are using a EBS, now you are creating a PV without PVC, what will happen? Kubernetes itself will create a PVC. It's automatically. No need to create a manual. So this is called dynamic provision. Okay. So here you are not climbing any volume. So you are using your storage class. But our this hands-on video, I'm not going to create any storage class. Okay. Kubectl get storage class. Let me see. You see, so this is the default storage class provided by this minikube cluster. Okay, so coming to this PVC here, I not yet mentioned anything. So if you are not yet mentioned anything, if you mentioned empty, what will happen? Your Kubernetes will use PV like this. Okay, this policy will create retain and host path. Here you see kubectl get PV. Here you see it's a retain policy. Okay, but my class, this is the default class. This class name is standard. So if I not mention the empty, what will happen? This template will be applied on my PV. Okay, now let's verify both are created successfully or not. PV also created successfully, PVC also created successfully, and also the client, the binding process also completed. Here you see 1 GB of data, which means the Kubernetes allocated 1 GB of data to your pod. That 1 GB you are using only 500 MB. Okay. Now let's describe this PVC. kubectl dscribe pod dscribe supposed to be PVC. So that is for showing error. Here you see, so PV and PV. So this is a source. We are using host directly volume. So in my previous video, I explained this concept. Okay, now actually what has happened? you are created, you are asking Kubernetes, hey Kubernetes, I need a 1 GB of data. Then Kubernetes allocated you the 1 GB of data. Then we are using uh, uh, persistent volume claims. You are claiming only 500 MB to your pod. Okay, now coming to this pod. So I'm using Nginx pod. Here I mentioned only the persistent volume claim. Okay, here I not mentioned my persistent volume name. You receive. So this is the name of the persistent volume claim. So which means the pod is directly attached with persistent volume claim, not persistent volume. Okay, I hope you guys understand this concept. Now, what I gonna do is I going to create my pod as well. Apply -f. So it gets created. kubectl get pod -w. What does this mean? What does this mean? We can watch our data. We can watch our pod live status. So the status is running, which means our pod is get ready. Now I'm going to access my pod. Okay, for that we should do the port forwarding, or we should log in into our cluster. So before that, let me verify the IP address of my pod. So this is the IP address provided by this key proxy. Now I can't directly access this IP address from my local. So for that, what I'm gonna do is kubectl port forward. So in my previous video, I explained this topic as well. For forward FO or WARD. Port forward is going to be for my pod. This is a pod. So I need to mention my pod name as well. So this is my pod name. Here I'm going to mention 8070, which means from my local I can access my pod through this port number 8070. So inside the pod, this Nginx application is running on 80 port. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm trying to access my application from my local host. You see, hi, hello. So where this actually comes from? So for that, we need to log in into the cluster minikube. So such here you can see the host path. So what is the host path we have created? This path I have already created. The host path here I mentioned. So inside this is the place where our HTML file is stored. mnt HTML -file. mnt HTML file. Okay, this folder you can store until 500 MB. Okay, after that you want to extend, you need to add another 500 on the PVC. Okay, so this data is storing on node. If our node gets deleted, our data will be deleted. So that is the concept of host path. Okay, so if you are using Elastic Beanstalk, Elastic Black Storage, your data will remain exist if the node will delete. Okay, now here what I'm gonna do is I'm going to index this. Here you see, so this is a place where my HTML file has stored. Now I'm going to change this one a bit. Why? So I don't like to use this VI, so which is not good. Mostly I would suggest a nano editor, echo, and inside here I'm writing the HTML text. Okay, don't confused. வணக்கம்டா மாப்புள்ள um சென்னையில இருந்து. So this is a kind of Tamil word, okay, which means I'm greeting from Chennai. Okay, so Chennai is a place where I'm living right now. Index, there's a permission deny, so I need a pseudo access. So now let's copy this, paste. Now let's verify. You see, this text has added. Now, see, Vanakkam from channel and it's successfully working. Now, this is all about the persistent volume climb and the storage class. And now, one another thing we're going to do is that I'm going to delete the persistent volume climb because we need to verify our data is still remain exist or not. Okay, if you are using a rule like retain, your PV should not delete. Okay, so that's the thing we're going to explore right now. Exit. Why? Thanks. Okay, exit. Now keep CTL. Get PVC. Now I'm going to delete the PVC. Delete PVC. Here, let's verify. Keep CTL. Get PVC. You can see the status is terminating. Now let's access our application. Our application is working or not. It is not working. Why? Because there is a no port forward. Again, I need to send. Port forwarding is running. Let's refresh. You see, wow, it is working. So this is all about this video. In my next video, will be see a very will we see EBC on AWS, how to integrate EBC, plastic black storage, with Kubernetes volume, a PV. Okay, and if you like this video, please join my YouTube, WhatsApp channel. So the channel link I provided on this video description, as well as I provided my Instagram and my LinkedIn. So if you have any doubt regarding this video, so please you can reach out me through those social media platform. And yeah, tada, see you. I'll see you another video.